feedback when I go check it on my other screen. So hold down 1 second. Perfect. My new mic is live, so I can answer questions. I'm Kevin Rundle. I do Mautic for a living, and I want to touch on the new 3.1 release candidate. I haven't given this a very good look, so let's actually go find the repository I want to take a look at. We'll go to tags because that's where we want to be, 3.1.0-RC. So don't use this for production. It is just the release candidate. It's not the full, well, you might be okay, but I recommend going nice and slow when it comes to upgrading. Especially once you're, like, now that you're in the 3.x series, I wouldn't jump to 3.1 until it's had a little bit of time to be played with and tested and things to be updated. And again, this is just the release candidate, so we're not quite fully ready to go. So I'm just going to scroll down and see if there's any specific notes that tell me. My headphones were just telling me that they're going to shut down, which would have shut down my mic, so that's why I was reaching up at my head and not talking for a second. So I don't see any notes that say what's new in the release candidate. I'm sure there's got to be some notes somewhere, so let's go to mautic.org. Probably blog. All right, let's search for notes on this. So I'm just kind of digging around the site, see if I can find where they brought anything up. There you go, you can see what I'm saying. Sorry, I should have brought that up earlier. I'm just looking for anything that would tell me about 3.1, and so right now I'm not seeing it. I went to the blog. I'm going to talk about the season of docs, but we don't actually have a proper announcement. I know there was something said in the Facebook group. Let's put this over here. And I'm going to the Mautic community. Back. Let's see what we got. So we have a release, some more. So new features are support for SES API. That's a big win. Add a company view. I don't care very much about that. Reply API endpoint. I like that. These other two don't matter to me much at all. And then our enhancements are, I'm just looking here. bug fixes. So the big one here, I would say, for me, is going to be the support for the Amazon SDS API. As I use Amazon SDS as my major gameplay, and so that right there is enough reason for me to try to push my upgrades all to here, or my instances all to here as fast as I can. So let's book it on over to Digital Ocen. Let's create a new droplet. I'm going to make it one of these ones. We'll go to New York 3, because I don't really care. I'm going to add my SSH keys. Mautic 3.1 RC test. So we can recognize it. I don't need backups because we are literally just playing with this tonight, and then I'm going to destroy it after I'm done. Pretty happy, pretty happy, pretty happy. Make sure I'm on Ubuntu. I don't normally go to 20. I'm going to go back to 18.4. Probably should just start going to 20, but I'm not going to yet. Because I don't want to. And that's how it is. So we're seeing it come up. My IP address. Little lonely Kevin's console. My best practice, if I were not going to be getting rid of this right away, would be to follow the instructions on DigitalOcean to create a user and give them root privileges, so you are not logging in as root, as it is not appropriate typically. And away it goes. I spilled a can of Coke, or a bottle of Coke on my keyboard the other day, so the keyboard is not quite as responsive as it was. All right, so I'm connected to this server. We're ready to get some Mautic going on, and I will even try to connect via the API, which should be interesting to run my SCS instances. So let's rock this out, because that's an exciting addition, for sure it is. And so, since this is going to be boring to watch without my face, I'm going to put solo off. I'm going to change it to look like, nope, this one. And I'm going to sit up a little bit so you can see my mug as I'm going. All right, so let's do the things we do. So I also set up a firewall typically on DigitalOcean, but it's not a bad idea to also tell the computer, no matter what's misconfigured somewhere else, like your Ubuntu server, these are the ports that the world's allowed to come in on. And then sure am willing to. I'll just do a status to make sure that it's up. This is just a good security practice. I tend to start there. So then I'm going to install Webanoli because I'm going to use it to install this version. It is what it is. So I use the 0 flag so that it doesn't install the lamp stack until I'm ready. So I'm going to go through and set a bunch of stuff the way I like it. Oh, there's been so much debate about this. I'm going to give it a 500 second execution time. Again, you can go set that in the PHP INI if you need to. And then I give it a time zone because I want my server to have a default time zone that isn't GMT. Off we go. And then because 3.0 doesn't support 7.4, I think I might run on 7.4. I haven't actually tried. I always just bump it back 7.3 with Webanoli, so that it's going to give me a version that actually will run. So we're going. We're installing our lamp stack. So this will install Nginx, and we'll install MariaDB, and we'll install PHP FPM. So we're good to go. Good to go. Good to go. Good to go. One of the nice things about Webanoli is it really does a good job of taking care of this Ubuntu operating system, getting everything kind of optimized as best you can out of the box. I mean, it's not probably perfect, but it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So it's definitely my preferred way if I'm installing a one-off server to set up the one-off server. So I should point something at this server. Create one called 3.1RC. I'm going to point that record to here. So I'm just creating an A record for this. So if you look here, I now have a 3.1RC. It look like this, and I just need that for creating the server with Webanoli once it's done installing. Oh, we're almost there. Still going. Right, we're set. So there's database information. I copy paste that into a spot so that you are ready to go. You need to install a few more PHP extensions. INTL and APCU, or you will get a little like recommended flag when you go to install this, and I prefer to have a fully green install. It doesn't take very many seconds to do it. And then I tend to do a sudo app update upgrade after Webinoli is gone, because typically there are a bunch of upgrades that are available. I just want it to be clean for me to move forward with. So that is the background thinking on this, especially because you see like some of the major components like Serpbot getting instantly updated. So that's why I do that right away afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sudo site, which is what an only command. Site I just created the domain for, 3.1rc would look like this.com. And I want it to be a SQL site. I'm going to move this off the screen for the next, or till I've run this. So as soon as I run this, it's going to give me a username and password for my database. I'm going to pull that because I'm live and I don't really feel like fighting with whatever jerk might be watching. So what you expect to see is a username and password there, though. And I showed it anyways. As I was trying not to. Yeah, so you just get a username and password there, and I just didn't want to share that username and password with the world. But I guess I've done so already. Sometimes somebody's hanging out just looking to be that guy, right? And that's what I don't want to have happen. So I'm just hoping that has already propagated enough that I can get a clean challenge. Boom, looking good. And we're now ready to do a couple little configurations prior to installing. So, discovered with 3.0, thanks to the help of a friend of mine, Lex Cabriz, that you don't need the rewrite anymore at the root in Mautic 3.0. So what I'm gonna do is just make it so we can find those dynamic JavaScript and stuff. There are a bunch of other configurations you can use, but these two are the ones that really make a difference, and we're going to have to do a cross-site on another one if we want to get deeper into this. This is not setting you up for a production server tonight. We're just going to get this to the point that we can look through the release candidate. Maybe send some email directly to my personal email addresses. All right, so once you have saved that, you are going to want to use this command to make sure that you will be able to boot your Nginx server. Yep, I'm good to go. Now we will just restart that Nginx service. And we've restarted it. Now we want to get our release candidate. I'm going to go find the link to that. So just give me half a second. I'm thinking I know basically what it is from my other links, but it's better to go actually pull it. So I'm just going to copy this link address. We will pull back up. We're going to use wget. This is the link address I copied. Sudo wget junk. But you know what I did wrong? I just put that in the home directory. So you learned a valuable lesson. I don't want it here. RM 3 junk. And we'll see wget 3 ht docs. Again, the release candidate. There it is. Unzip it. And we managed to hit the right folder. So the second you do that, you now need to set the ownership. So part of why I come to this folder is because then I need to choose the DAW. So I'm going to choose ownership, recursive. It's going to be everything in the folder, htdocs with www-data. So, and then you can either type the full path where you want this to happen, or because I'm in the path I want it to happen to, I can just use the DAW notation. And that'll leave you're good to go. And then we're going to do the same with the rest of the permissions. So ownership set, permissions are set, and we are now ready to open our website. We just want to grab that, pull it. Don't need any of this now. And got a 403 forbidden. Why do we get that? This is normally to do right there. That's why we got that, because I managed to unzip this and it put it in a folder. So I'm gonna sudo the star of let me get this right for sure. So the reason I don't see this is because I put it one folder down. If I went to the next folder down, I should be able to see it still. I just want to make sure I'm going to get this right. I'm going to be pretty close. All right, I like that better. So we're going to do that. star dot no. That looks better. And I'm going to sudo rm the actual zip file because I don't want it to hang out here. Again, looks better. I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to do the permissions and ownership again because that's like a big one that causes failures. So I'll pull that back over because I'm just grabbing the browser I had it in. So I grabbed the wrong one initially. So let's refresh this and we should see it now. 500 error. App. Go for ls. And I can't tell. Let's be a cache folder here, but I don't see it. So I'm going to go back. Let's see what we get. We get nothing. So we got a 500 error. Typically that is permissions based. Or an issue with the cache. I'm going to have to just figure out what's going on. All right, so let's try this once more with a slightly modified pull code. Instead of what I used, let's go. The thinking is I need to go. If I do this, that'll probably fix it. But let's try something else before we do this. I don't have a composer installed, so I'm just going to bypass that. If I'd installed Composer, I think that's all I required as a composer install to get all the dependencies looking at that error log. Unzip 3 junk. Let's go all. Let's see if we now load. No problem. There it is. Yeah. So it's just a composer install. We're missing the dependencies underneath. We now have a green check. If you didn't install those two PHP things, you get a yellow here. If you didn't increase the default memory, you're going to get a yellow there. And so that's something you want to definitely avoid. So we'll go in. I said I already kind of exposed this, so maybe somebody's already using my big bad database. But if not, we'll get to it right now. Don't want to save it. Let's use this one. Right, Kevin Rundle and Kevin at Open Source Marketing Dojo.com. Oh, that's amazing. Did they fix this also? Oh, look at that. We've got all the regions, which is a big step forward because they didn't have them all in the past. Anyways, so I'm going to go here. This is North Virginia. These are wrong. I'm just going to go next. And let's get into this Mautic install. So if you have AWS all set up and ready to go with SES, you just have to get your credentials to attach it the rest of the way and send stuff out. I think they might have cleaned up these icons. I don't remember this being a puzzle piece before, but maybe it was, eh? So then the last step would be to set up your cron jobs if you're going to be running this for real. Because I'm not going to bother with cron jobs tonight. If you have questions about cron jobs, put them in the comments if you're watching the replay, or put them in the chat right now, and I can go back and touch on that. But it doesn't make sense to me to touch on it right this second. Here we are. So yeah, the big new one is going to be if you're in here configuring your email, we now have API connection, which is a big step up from using the old excuse me. Using the old SMTP. And so what I want to tie into that here right away is and see what I get when I try to send something. So now you're learning right with me. I'm pulling up this document here. Da-da-da. Using the API. So we're going to have to go kick over to IAM, the identity management software. Just looking for it now. Identity and access management, where are you? I have to type it in because I can't see it just like that. There it is. I'm creating a test API user here, and I am. Programmatic access. Next. Attach existing policies directly. I'm going to give it too much access, probably. I'm going to give it full SES access. I don't need a tag. I'm going to create the user. Now let's go back and see if these new credentials will work for me. And I have a successful connection. So I will close this up and we'll talk about this user. So what I did was I added a new user. Right here, test API user. I want to add new user. Give it a name. Give programmatic access. Out to read. So the reason I didn't do it on the screen was just in case I expose that password. I don't need someone trying to send through my. And I said attach existing. And I picked an SES. I need at least this. Like I need at least the ability to send. And since this is read-only access, I don't think that would be enough. I'm not sure what this would do, but this makes the most sense to me. Being as you want to control it completely from Mautic. Next, you're going to tags. Tags are for sorting and requirement. We don't need it for this example. I'm about to delete it, so I'm going to then say create user. And it gives you your user access key and a secret access code. Or you can download the CSV. Either one is acceptable. And then that's what I put into my Mautic configuration to get to this point. And so we are now at a point where I could, in theory, send email out via this console. I don't want to save that. User Kevin Rundle. I'll make it Kevin.Rundle at KPI ROI. Send him a message. Be from test 1, 2, 3, and I'm sending, and we failed to send. And I don't know why I failed to send. This does have something to do with the Amazon side of this. I'm gonna have to test this further. But that's pretty exciting to be able to do that. I'm not sure why this is broken either. It could be any number of things, I suppose. Pretty soon here we're going to see a new email builder, but I don't think this one includes that yet. No, we're still looking at the old email builder, which basically means you're looking at code mode from my perspective, which is no big deal. B-Free is a perfect example of something that makes this work easily. I'm pretty happy with where we've ended here. I'm going to go delete my 2 API users before I forget. Dunk. I'm going to close this Mautic, as you've seen it come up and start running. And we looked at the one thing that I cared to look at any amount without anybody watching this stream. I don't see much reason to answer more questions about it. I'm going to close this and this. I'm going to open this. And I'm going to destroy this instance, which will leave me with nothing running, which means that version of Mautic is now gone forever. Thank you for watching the replay. Please like and subscribe if this type of content does it for you. If you have questions, ask them in the comments below now. I'm going to try to do some of these during North American hours to see how the response is. If you have any questions at all, also feel free to put those in the comments below. I want to start going live twice a week. I know I didn't manage that last week, but I'm going to go again probably Friday or Thursday this week and just get all these things hammered out. I appreciate you, and I hope your marketing adventure is better because you are able to follow along with these tutorials. Have